Hi there. For those of you who might not know me, I am Felipa and I am committed to reading the Bible for the whole year. The reading plan started on September 5th. No, September 1st, my apologies. September 1st, and it is to September 7th. So, day 7 today out of 365 days of the year. And the next section that I'm on is chapter 18, and it says, The Lord appears to Abraham. And it says, And the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door and bowed himself toward the ground, and said, My Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. And so it's interesting because I was kind of thinking, well, does the Lord appear in addition to the 3 men, or is the Lord appearing as 3 men? So is Lord appearing as 3 different men, or as essentially as a as a triplet? And so really interesting, just because it would make sense to believe that God can present himself as anything or anyone to perhaps test us, because so far there's nothing said about God's appearance. So it would make sense that God would be able to present as anything or anybody. And the next part that's interesting, Lord went down to Sodom, and Abraham, it says, intercedes for the people of Sodom. And Abraham drew near and said, Will thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked? And then in verse 25 at the end it says, Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? And so Abraham is asking if he will protect all of the people who are righteous, and not punish them in the same breath as the wicked are punished. And that last line is interesting. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? So we see that Abraham seems to know right from wrong, and he's asking the Lord if he is willing to essentially, if he's to keep safe the people who are doing good and are righteous, and spare them, as opposed to punishing them. And that's kind of action that's going to affect, obviously, the wicked. And then we go on to the vicious Sodomites stricken with blindness in chapter 19. In verse 8, we see Lot. He hosts angels that came to his house, and then some vicious group individuals and men came down to there, and they wanted to do them. And Lot ended up being sent into the mountains for safety. And so this is, we see Lot being sent away, and basically the Lord says, the Lord upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven, and he threw those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities and that which grew upon the ground. And so we see that, not like retaliation, but we see God hold on to his word that he is going to destroy basically things that are wicked and not righteous. And then we continue on, and the next is going to chapter 21. Isaac is born, and that's going to be day 8 of 365. So it's, so far the chapters I've read, I'm trying to piece together some of the story about Abraham, that continuing on for a bit more longer than the other pieces of the Bible thus far. There are questionable pieces about incest. That's interesting. Also, kind of not, if we think about the concept of man being created as, and then populating the earth, it would kind of feel as incest, which is always a taboo topic. But I obviously, open to see whether or not there are stories that are tied through here that give me a little bit more clarity about some of these more perplexing or taboo topics, or if maybe just parts of the book that hold an account to things that have happened that really kind of stand on their own and have no continuation or no lesson. And perhaps I missed something. And so if I have, please share your thoughts with me. So tomorrow is day 8 of 365, and I will be back to see this section 21, Isaac is born, and interesting to see where that takes us next. See you soon.